Tonight, I get to talk to you about accountability. And I'm going to use a PowerPoint on that and take you to it. But accountability to me is really one of the key components of the business. If you said to me, Jim, rank up certain things, and of course, taking action is one of those, and doing something is always one of the first things I'd say. But one of the others would be the accountability of doing it with somebody. And I'm going to turn this over into a PowerPoint and go through that. And what I'll do is I'm going to have some people who are going to speak at the end as well. And then as I try to do every time, I'll open it up for a few questions. And we'll have a great segment tonight. And I hope all of you get as much out of this accountability as it's given to me over the last 10 years. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen, okay? All right. If you are looking at my screen right now, you should see a slide that says accountability. And so when I talk about accountability, we talk about focus and structure and teamwork. If it's a group you're doing it with, or even if it's just two of you doing it, I want to make sure, I really want to cover this from all angles this evening, because, sometimes you can have accountability groups with 20 people in them. Sometimes you can have one. I'm running one right now with Andrew Chi in Canada, where we've got 20 teams of at least 3. Some are 4, 5, or 6 because they've grown while we were doing it. And sometimes though accountability is 2 people. So it's just having some accountability other than yourself is what I'm trying to get across. And it really comes down to focusing on result producing activities. And that's something, we just have to realize that result producing activities are always going to be a key to building the business. So why do we need an accountability group? Well, the first reason would be because we all think we do the business more than we actually do the business. So what do I mean by that? I think one of the most interesting things in the business is that we all think about it a lot. And I know a lot of you are probably like me, so you've been that way as well, where you think about it a lot, but sometimes you're not doing as much as you should be with it. And sometimes because we think about it a lot, or because we're on social media a lot with it, we think we're doing more than we're doing. And I've always believed accountability should break down those result producing activities and then be able to show you, are you doing the business, really doing it, or are you thinking about it and wishing for it? So that's where this comes in. People naturally do better when someone is overseeing what they're doing. Unfortunately, a lot of us, we're entrepreneurs, right? One of the things we don't like is people telling us what to do, because we've got the entrepreneurial spirit. That's why we're doing what we do. However, I know I'm an entrepreneur. I don't want a boss. Luckily, I don't work for bosses. I work for leaders. I work for coaches. And that's what we all want. We want someone to coach us and help us, but not someone to boss us around, right? So you want to have we do better with that because sometimes we don't see what we're not seeing, what we're missing, if that makes sense. And then time can go so fast when you only have limited hours to build the business. If you're trying to build this in 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, if you don't have something you're monitoring or looking at, all of a sudden, it's like all this time goes by. It's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And you look back on the last 4 weeks and you realize, you know what, I just didn't do what I thought I was going to do. And I didn't get anything done. Well, you know what, I'll do it the next month. Well, the great thing about our business is we always have time. The bad thing about life is we don't always have time. So what you want to do is you want to get it done so you can enjoy it. And to do that, you have to stay focused on what needs to be done during focused hours. And that's what we're going to talk about as we hit this. And, for Lisa and I, the way this started was actually back in 2009. It was before I joined the corporate team. So we were, I think at that time, executive directors with the company. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we were executive directors. We may have hit field president at that point. I'm not sure. But here's what I knew. Um, we were working really hard, like more hours than we felt we should after that long in the business. And Lisa said, Jim, we got to figure out why is it that we feel like we're working too hard right now. And the problem was we were trying to help everybody. And I know there's probably people on this accountability group right now are saying, oh man, that sounds like me. I'm trying to do it for everybody. And sometimes you have to do that when when you're new and your people are new. You are going to have to hustle. That's the way it is. You're going to have to work, and you're going to have to put the hours in. But once you've done it for a sustained period of time, if you've done a good job, you should have at that point trained leaders to take over for you. People would tell us how hard they worked, but we couldn't really judge it. You don't really know. And I'm going to give you a secret right now in the world. Everybody has a different definition of what hard work is. I learned this really early in my life. Some people think they were working hard, that I considered sloughing off. But they weren't doing it to be rude or mean, or they had tricked their mind because in their life, that's what hard work was. So you have to understand that as you look at it, and without structure and accountability, you can never figure out, are they working hard or hardly working? We wanted a way to train rising stars fast. I wanted to be able to grab that leader that I saw and make sure they were doing it the right way and really dig in with them. And so we were going into a regional conference, regional convention in May of 2009. I still remember it. And we basically picked 4 people on our team. We picked a couple that we thought were rising stars, a couple people that were real solid. And we included ourselves in that group because we always think the leaders need to be part of the accountability as well. And here's what happened. The first week, everybody turned their numbers into it. And it was real simple. It was just like, did you call somebody? Did you sell a product? Did you show a plan? And we gave points for each one. And I'll show you different ways you can do this. But that was a simple way of doing it for us. And the first week, everybody turned their sheets in. Nobody had any points but us. And Lisa and I looked, and we got on a call with everybody because we do a weekly call. And we said, okay, what happened? And what came back was, holy cow. I thought I was working hard until I started documenting, and I call them result producing activities. And they realized they weren't doing the things that would make them money. Okay. And what really makes people money? What makes people money is moving product. It's retailing. It's setting appointments and sharing the plan, and it's moving tickets to major events. Those are the things that really add up, and that's really all we focus on. And so the next week, everybody came in and everybody crushed it. They had a great week. Then the third week, it was zeros again. So it's like everybody did all the work they could, but we started figuring out nobody is planning ahead. So, if you're watching this right, pull out your calendar. If you pull out your calendar, you look on your phone and you look on your computer or daytime, if you use it, and you say, I got almost nothing lined up for the next month. Guess what? That's going to probably not be the month you want it to be because you don't have enough lined up. You need to be structured and organized going ahead with making sure you have things in that appointment book. One of the things we set up right away was doing a weekly Zoom conference call. And we do that, we used to do it by a conference call. We would do it on a call line. Now we do it by Zoom with the technology. We do it early in the week. You can do it on a Sunday night. You could do it on a Monday night. You could do it on a Monday during the day if you have enough people who are available. But we always felt this was one of the most important things we could do for momentum, is have that call and off so that people were on the call and they were hearing what was going on. So as a moderator, I knew I wanted to keep that call really 45 minutes or less. That's my goal. I want to address any topics. If I'm running it for a group of, say, 4, 5, 6, and let's say on the highest level of the team or whatever it may be, what are the topics that are important? So right now, of course, if you're running one, what are topics that are important? Well, there's things like which products are back in stock, which products have been out of stock, how can we contact customers about these? products. How about the video JR posted about the pycnogenol and what that can support with what's happening in society right now. You know, anything I can bring up on and I did mine this Monday morning, to make people think about how we can increase customer sales or increase getting people online right now to the business is what I'm going to talk about. Then, you know, because I'm doing one with anywhere from usually about 20 people on it, I've already gotten their numbers in, and I'm looking at who are the top 5 people, which I've put onto a Facebook group. So we run Facebook groups with an accountability group. So if you're going to do an accountability group and you have 4 or 5 people, make a little Facebook group of 4 or 5 people so that someone can, but someone's got to take the lead if you're doing it that way, okay? And then we have the people, the top 5 who finished with the most points, and I'll explain again all that as what the points mean. We have them address that, you know, what did you do for the week? Now, this is really important because I've sat in on other conference calls, and if you have a moderator who's not really focused, who's not really paying attention, who's not thinking, because when I'm moderating, here's what I'm thinking. I've got this person who did really well. What did they do? So if they sponsored somebody, how did you meet the person? What kind of approach did you use? How long did it take to do this? I'm trying to pull out of the people who are producing to help some of the people who may be struggling a little bit further. I hope that makes sense for everybody, but it's real important. I actually love that we're doing it by Zoom now because I have the camera on me and it helps me stay focused on what I'm doing instead of just being on a phone call with it. So the Zoom has really worked well with that. So I'm asking questions to draw things out. And then the top 5 people will preview their next week as well. So when they review what they did, they're also going to say, well, this week I've got this scheduled and this scheduled and this scheduled. And that came because we realized that if we had them preview, they didn't want to preview and not have anything. And then we also will talk about bonus points because we'll put some things on there we feel are really important to cover maybe this week in what's happening with the business, or that'll come up in the future, or if we see something that's lacking. There was a period of time where it seemed like on one of our teams, they were lacking getting the plan in front of people. So guess what the bonus points were? Bonus points were show the business plan, get the business plan in front of a prospect. Don't care how you do it. But if we could get them in front of that, then what was happening is we then had the ability to give bonus points on that. So a lot of times what you put an emphasis on is what people will work towards. So this gives us the ability to put an emphasis on what we feel our each individual organizations may need as well. From the form, I've always worked on result producing activities. I've updated the one I use personally with each new group. It gives immediate feedback and it reinforces positive behavior, which I think is really important. If somebody showed the plan 4 times with 2-on-1, I'm going to say, I usually write back in the email because they email me this every Friday night. I write back and say, man, you did a great job showing that business plan 4 times. Now, tell anything, I might say, keep doing that, and let's also focus on getting some retail going. Or if I had someone who retailed a ton who didn't show any plans, because I can see that on my form, I'm going to say, you did an incredible job retailing. This next week, let's keep that some people who can help us show that plan as well. What I'm trying to do is, again, I'm looking at it. It's helping me coach. It's helping me work with people to be able to see what they may be missing a little bit. So let's go through kinds of accountability we can all use, okay? So if you go into our back office, into our unfranchised.com, and you go to My Organization, you go to reports. So My Organization, go to reports. There's a sheet that says weekly accountability. Well, what do you do with weekly accountability? Well, let's say there were just 2 of you, partner, and you said, this is actually really great when you start new people as well. It's a very simple form. It's right online. It's duplicatable to be able to do. So you could request them to send them to you, or they could just submit it to you. If I'm requesting it, I could put in here, you know, andrewc@shop.com, and I want Andrew to send me his. I'm requesting his accountability form to come to me. Normally, though, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have them just submit it and send it to me at the end of each week. So if I do that, office accountability, it's a 2, and on here you can send multiple people. So if you wanted to send it to 3 or 4 different people, you could put an email, then a comma, then a comma, then an email, then a comma, then an email, then a comma, and it'll go to all 4 different people. So real simple, easy way to do that. I'm going to copy myself on there because I want to make sure I get it as week ending. You can put what week ending is, and weeks always end on a Friday. Why do they end on a Friday? Because that's how Market America works, right? We end on a Friday, we start on a Saturday, so it's always there. Now let's look at some of the activities on this accountability sheet. Again, this one to me is the simplest, easy to use, great with new people, but great with a lot of people. So listen to one audio. What was the title? What did you learn? That could be audio or video now, because we've got so much coming on on Zoom videos. Hope everybody's subscribed to Market America YouTube page. You really need to be there. You want to make sure you're looking at the list of all Zooms that are, there's so many coming out so fast that allow you to catch up when you have time. Did you read your goal statement once per day? Did you call or contact 1 possibility from your names list per day? Did you add 10 possibilities to the possibility list? So these are all simple, either yes, you did, or no, you didn't. Did you conduct trial size marketing 2 times per week? Did you conduct 2 trial runs and follow-up meetings? Did you present the plan to 2 personal possibilities? You can see it's got the name, the date, the outcome, meaning I showed it, we're now starting a trial run. They became a customer, or they have no interest at all. Excuse me. I had conducted 1 HBP, UBP, or coin. So did you anything on Zoom where you were able to or be part of one? So for newer people, to make sure you're feeding your mind every day, because you've listened to an audio or watched a video, you've part of a Zoom that's going on. Attended a GMTSS event. Hey, just because the GMTSS is now online does not mean that does not count. You put that in. It was a Zoom event. It was this. I went to the end. It was great. And then you've got a progress report. Did you total, did you sponsor people? Did your team sponsor people? How much BV is going up? And then again, you just click that button at the bottom and you send this and it goes to the next person right in your back office. Very duplicatable, very easy to use. So let's talk now about our second activity you can take a look at. Well, in our back office again, under daily, under our help and training and support materials, if you look up accountability sheets, there's an accountability activity tracker that you could download. And as you can see here, you can put your name on it, you can put an ID, an email, date range, and then here again, it'll work for 1 week. And you can see it starts on a Saturday, it ends on a Friday, very similar. This is a paper form. So you need to fill it out, scan it, send it back or something like that if you were doing it by a paper form. Read 20 to 30 minutes a day, read a goal statement 2 times a day, added 2 possibilities, did trial size marketing, placed a minimum of 1 order on shop.com, showed the plan 2 times, had 2 trial runs going on. What happened? Attended or conducted an HBP, a UBP, a coring. So again, very similar. This is just for people if they don't like the digital, maybe they'd like to do it and write it out, or maybe they want to write it out and then put it in the digital part. So you can take this so you have it and then put your numbers in there and send that to your accountability partner or your accountability team leader. So this is a second way that you can do this. So if anybody says, well, I just don't know how I can do any accountability, holy cow, this is not that hard. You got multiple different ways to do it. Now, what I'm showing you now is a spreadsheet I use. It's an Excel spreadsheet. And, when I first started teaching this, some people said, well, that's too much for me. And that's why I start off with the others. Start off with those, use those. Those are fantastic. Those are very duplicatable. They're great. Okay. Mine is one I've used for 10 years, so I'm very used to it. My team has used it for a long time. And then we've also instituted this recently. I've been working with Andrew Chi, and we've been working with a large Canadian organization we're doing this with, our Elite 18 that we have in our Canada accountability group that we're working with. And you can see here what I basically did on here. Lisa and I took a look at all the things that we have. So we said, okay, let's rank these by points. What's important as you look at the different items, you'll see points are worth, they get higher. If you hit the Chairman's Challenge, that's 1,500 points. Why? Because that's very exclusive company to be able to hit the Chairman's Challenge, you know. And we've had in our group, the personal accountability group, I work with Dawn Florio, who is a rock star. Some of you know Dawn. She's one of the, she's a great attorney out of New York City. We've been working together for probably, I don't know, 6 years on the accountability group, but she is one who's very active at hitting that Chairman's Challenge. It's something she always goes for. You can see you get points for being on a call workshop, being on a weekly call that we do, because we want to make sure if you're on this, you participate in the call. We feel it's very important. Conduct or host a product overview, which again, you can do all these things by Zoom right now. Retail $50 in products. We are a retailing machine. Our company is a retailing machine. Our groups are retailing machines. So we want to give points. The more you retail, the more points you're going to get. We're rewarding a good behavior. You can see trial size marketing. If you do a one-on-one or two-on-one with a personal prospect, the points are 50 because we know that's something that everybody needs to do more plans with. If you help a teammate, it's 20. If you conduct a home business presentation, it's 50. And that includes what I call a ZBP, which is a Zoom business presentation to be able to do that. And I won't go through all of them, but you can see how they move and how the point values add up. Personal sponsorship is 500. If you half activate that person you've sponsored or anyone you've sponsored, excuse me, gets half activated, it's 200 points. If they get fully activated, it's another 200 points. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to put an emphasis where we want the emphasis to be, because we measure, monitor, and we adjust. That's what we do. And so we'll adjust our points as times are different. Whoops. One of the big things we've done is we've made Master UFO worth 600 points. Why? Because we really feel that's the springboard to everything that should happen in the business. If you're doing Master UFO and doing well with it, you're going to be right on pace to hit Shopping Annuity Master member. But Master UFO includes recruiting. It includes going to trainings. It includes retailing, buying tickets, all the things that we really need to take care of all those different things. So when you are looking at this, all people do then is they'll put in 1 or they'll put in 2, and it automatically calculates for them and it gives them a point total. Okay, pretty simple to be able to do with this. We have a second sheet on there. You'll see it says team member and it says pre-selected UFO partners. So when I'm running this with my elite group, and these are more experienced people, each one of them, or teams, because right now I'm running a team challenge, which we'll talk about in a minute, but everybody gets to pick 10 people on their team that they want to get to a new level. So what do I mean by that? Doesn't mean they're part of your accountability team. It means they're part of your team somewhere, and you want to get them to hit coordinator, get them to hit executive coordinator, whatever it may be. You know, so many times we put too much of an emphasis on ourselves instead of on our teammates. So we want to get our teammates hitting coordinator, hitting executive coordinator, and we have pre-selected. You get to pick 10 each 12-week run we do, because we want you to be thinking mentally, who are my 10 people? What am I doing to support them and get them there? And this way, we found, has been a great way to be able to do that. This is just showing one of the sheets filled out. This one happened to be filled out by Executive Supervising Coordinator Shelly Bow, who's going to join us on the call a little bit later. And you can see Shelly is a very big retailer. When it says 27 in there, that means she retailed what would be the equivalent of 27 times $50. So $1,350 is what gave her 27 in there and gave her that many points. And you can see, you can look down here and you can look and say, okay, what can we work on? As you get lower, these are all harder to achieve on a regular basis. As you're higher, they're the things we do almost on a daily basis or a weekly basis while you take a look at that. Here's with our Elite 18 group, and Andrew Chi, you are fantastic with making things fun. And this is where we were giving bonus points out, and Andrew made a little poster that said, I don't always give bonus points, but when I do, it's for the UBP, because we were giving bonus points if people went to the UBP. So if they went to the UBP, we were giving bonus points doing that. So that works out really good for us to be able to alter and look at things we may need to put an emphasis on during the week. And again, just showing you a couple of the things that we have going on. We have this is an example on our private Facebook page, and it's a private group, as you can see. What we have going on here is where we'll take, in this case, it's teams. So on my personal team right now, I've got 17 teams of 3. So what we did is we took people who had been on the elite team. And by the way, if you're running a accountability group, you need to really set up a Facebook group or something where, well, WeChat, somewhere everybody can communicate. That's the key. I like the Facebook groups because I can post in there because people can see it real easy. But what we'll do is we'll add up what did they do for the week and what were their numbers. So you can see the total team numbers. So Dawn's got a team now. It's not a team of 3. It's actually a team of 7, because the way we're running this is really fun. If one of your original 3, when you start, sponsors a new person, you get to add one more person on your team going forward. If one of those 4 sponsors one, you get to add another person on. So it's like the business. Your team is growing if people are sponsoring and building. So the teams are getting bigger and bigger if people are out showing the plan, doing the things they should. And this is just showing an example, and whether you're first or you're last, your team is listed on there. And that's okay. The ones that are a little lower, no, they have areas to improve on, and sometimes they're in the top 5. It can vary time to time, but as they get a little stronger, everything gets to a higher level with that. But anybody who commits to do an accountability group with you, you should be really proud of, and you should really congratulate them. You should really get them moving the right way. Here's an example of showing year-to-date numbers as well. And I usually just show the top 10 on that, or in this case, the top 11 for the group. And you can see the teams again. Those are the captains in the blue. And just so if it says 5 PS, that means they've now personally sponsored 5 people in. That team is retailed over a period of 7 weeks, over $11,650. They've shown, excuse me, 45 personal plans. They have 2 people who hit Master UFO and 2 people who hit SAM that are part of their team. So that team that they have. And again, as you go down, you can see how all those numbers add up and what they do. So again, if we're focusing, what do you see us focusing on? You see us focusing on retailing, showing the plan, personal plans, Master UFO, SAM, getting people activated, getting people half activated. And then when we're in a different environment than we are currently, it's a lot on moving tickets to the next event as well, which we'll move over to Zoom for this short period of time. Now we do have some rules on it. So when I'm running this, I've ran this group for 9 years, as you'll hear from some people. We give them about 18 months. If somebody who's on that group does not sponsor in 18 months, we have to ask them to leave. Now they can get back on if they sponsor 2 people in 12 weeks, but we have to have, that group has to be for our elite people. And when you see people who are on here, some of these have been off and been back on and just crushed it afterwards. So it's really good, but we're posted, as you can see, we're talking about it. We're very open. It's not a kumbaya, everybody wins. It's a competition. It's fun. It brings out the best in everyone. And we all root for each other. We all cheer for each other, because that's what you should be doing. This is some of the guidelines I've used for years with this, and it lets people know to send it to me no later than Friday night. Real important if you're running one as a captain, that everybody gets it to you on time, because you can't really put everything together the way you want to if they don't. So you can see it says you receive a 0 if it doesn't come in on time. Our conference calls, which now we do a Zoom link, which I have on the Facebook page for them. And how important it is to be on there. It talks about the fact that they need to sponsor. They need to have a ticket to the next major event. Now, again, this is the way I run what do I want to call an elite group. remember when I was showing you the back office, or the one that you can download? You don't have to be this tough on people for that. That may be for the new one. We're just trying to encourage and go. This is where I'm trying to mold my next leader when I'm doing it this way. I hope that makes sense for you too. Welcome. Thanks for jumping on too. I'll leave you unmuted if there's anything you want to add. I'm moving next to this lovely lady, and I have unmuted Trina. And Trina, we started working together. How many years ago is it now?
About 3. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. It was about 3. I thought it was maybe like 4 or 5.
It could be 4. I mean, at the time, you know what? It has been 4 or 5.
Is it? Okay. But so you had never been part of like an accountability group like we do.
Never.
And I have to say you really took to it, and you've really run with it really well. So your feedback on it a little bit.
Well, just like Jessica said, in the beginning, it's a little nerve-wracking. Just like Shelly said, I resisted it. And these 2 ladies pretty much said it all. And for me, I was so intimidated. The word I would use was intimidated, because I saw the Lynn Mischkes and the Shelly Bows and all the heavy hitters on the team. And then you were leading in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know if I belong. All those insecurities and in the beginning, but it's just fighting through the fear. Like I knew that, I was born for this, and I can do this, and I knew I was excited. I bleed Market America. I'm so passionate. I had just hit professional coordinator not too long before that, but I was trying to figure it all out on my own, only to realize that there were some bad habits I was starting to develop, and when you came in to really help our team and our culture, it turned everything around. And I cannot even imagine not ever being on this accountability team 20 years. And then how did I survive without this all these years? Without having this accountability. And it's just more than accountability, it's community. Right. It really is community. And accountability is what we say, but it's so much, like Shelly says, encouragement, and it's intense, it's competitive, but we have each other's back. We have friends for life. Yeah. And I remember one of my mentors, he has earned $1 billion in real estate. And I was sitting in his weekly meetings, accountability meetings with financial education. And we will always say every week, the mantra was, whatever you measure improves, whatever you measure and report improves exponentially. And I saw my everything in my business improve exponentially. And like Jim knows, like him and a few other people, I have had a record-breaking, month within my business. And it's just great because, you're helping people with their health and their wealth.
Yeah, you've had a record-breaking month. Shelly's had a record-breaking month. I'm not sure on Jess. I know she's doing great. But I think it's because everything was positioned right as we went into this time with what we're doing with this. And you've started your own accountability group too, Trina. So again, it's the duplication. That's the key. So now it's not me doing one team of 20. It's reaching out to hundreds. And that's where you really get a secure organization, is when you're doing that. So congratulations on everything you've done and continue to do.
Well, thank you. Not only did I start my own elite team, but that 2 of those leaders have branched off and started their own team. So it's really multiplying.
Wow. Do you hear that, Shelly? You better get your team developing multiple accountability groups. I know you're both competitive.
I challenge you, Shelly. I challenge you.
That darn Trina. Always challenging.
I was sitting there thinking, Shelly's thinking, dang it.
I love it.
All right. Well, good. Thank you, Trina. I'll leave you unmuted. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Lastly, I'd like to have my partner in Canada here leading the way. Andrew Chi, he really helped set up this accountability group there. We are seeing results like I don't think I've ever seen, Andrew. And why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Hey, Jim. Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard, like listening to Trina and Shelly and Jessica, share about their experiences. Let me tell you, Jim, I want to thank you so much for reaching out and offering to co-run this with me and really show me the ropes, teach me how you do it. It is it's been life-changing. It's changed, my business personally. It changed my activities. And it's such a great learning experience. When Trina and Shelly was talking about being, overwhelmed and a little bit, intimidated at first, I was not intimidated. I wanted to do it. But Jim then says you got to put together a couple of teams and get it ready. And everybody I called, they seemed, a little bit set back and a little bit intimidated. And this was when I realized that, not everybody is right for the accountability groups, but everybody that wants to build their business needs it. And it was so key. Like for those who have, I want to mention, for those who have decided to take the step forward to move ahead and do it anyways, hats off to you. It's, it's getting yourself out of the comfort zone and it's pushing you forward. But, I'd like to share a couple of mistakes I made when I was running my accountability groups back in, before we started working on this together, Jim, if that's okay.
Sure. That's a great way for people.
Yeah. And there was, I had run accountability groups for years now. Some of them were better than others. And what I noticed with the ones that weren't as good was when I ran groups, when I was trying to please everybody, where we had, people that were just coasting along and they didn't want to be pushed, to build their business, but somehow we convinced them to get on the group, and it ended up becoming, walking on eggshells every week. So when we put together the elite accountability group with you, I made sure to ask all of the team captains before they said yes and before they got their people on. I made sure to ask them, do you feel that you have everything you need to be successful at this, at this accountability group? And that was key, because what that turned into was, now we got a whole, we got 18 groups that are hungry, that are pushing for it, and everybody feels like they were set up to succeed, not to lose at this. And that creates such an amazing atmosphere. It pushes all of us to move forward. And the fact that we just got the point system, we gamifies it, and I love that we just focus on the numbers, and our business builds as a byproduct.
Right.
So it's about leading the numbers. Yeah, that's what I've picked up from this. Thanks so much, Jim.
Well, that was great, Andrew. And you guys have done a great job. You've made it fun. You made it competitive with everybody, which is good for people to know. And we also, I think you did a good job setting ground rules on this new group, that it would be competitive and that it's not for the timid. That, we would be pushing people a little bit. And that's like, guys, that really comes back to how you build your business. That's where this really puts it together and allows you to do it. Like I said, whatever form you use is great. Turning in accountability to somebody, even if there's just two of you, makes a huge difference. And the bottom line is, it really separates those who want to do it from those who say they want to do it. There's no hiding. There's no complaining. We all need some accountability in our life. I will tell you that. I know I said I would open it up for questions. I can probably only do about 2 minutes. Somebody asked me where the form was that I use personally. If you go to MA Northern Region, it's under Files. I put the form there, and then I just change it every 12 weeks on there. So that's there. That's where you can find the form. I think that was Alice who may have asked that, and that's where the form is. But are there any other questions before we jump off? Like I said, they'll just only have a couple more minutes. I want to thank Shelly, Trina, Jess, and Andrew for coming on with me and sharing what it's done for them, and hopefully encouraging all of you to think about really taking accountability with some people. And yes, it could be cross-line. If you don't have a good team of people who will work with you, could it be cross-line? Sure. That's not bad either, because sometimes different cross lines can push each other real well. Jessica just asked, different Jessica, how quickly do we start an accountability group with a new person? Well, again, a new person, it depends. You would have to give them a little bit of that. You might want to start them off with either the back office or the one you can print off. If they're a real go-getter, you might be able to start them with the one with the numbers. but you can start them right away, because really all it is a guideline of what to do and what is important. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to leave with that. Anything from any of the panelists? Anything else you guys want to add?
I just wanted to say that people are used to being told what to do in their jobs. So having some kind of checklist and a tractor for them to run on is a good idea right out of the gates.
Great, Trina. Thank you. That's excellent. Well, guys, have a great evening. Be safe, and I look forward to hearing great stories about your accountability and your growth in the future. Can't wait till I can see all of you at an event, and instead of having to do it from long distance, give you a big old hug. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.